here. What an incredible turnout, and we're pleased to see it. I'm Mayor Cavalier Johnson, and I'm joined by a number of city officials and other officials who are here, some of whom you'll have the opportunity to hear from. Among them, our city librarian, Joan Johnson, who has allowed us to come here to the Atkinson Library. So thank you for that, Joan. We are here in the first district, and Alderwoman Andrea Pratt has joined us as well. Alderman Jonathan Brostoff has joined us as well. The city engineer Kevin Muse you'll hear from. Milwaukee Health Department Commissioner Mike Todoritis. The Office of African American Affairs Director Khalif Rainey is here. We got representative from the fire department who's here, Captain Schleib from the Milwaukee Police Department, others you have the opportunity to hear from. The reason that we're here today is because the city of Milwaukee is launching a new campaign entitled Speeding, We Can Live Without It. Speeding, we can live without it. The campaign aims to reduce speeds of people driving by sharing the stories of residents who have suffered the consequences of speeding. And we're launching the campaign this summer because these are the 100 deadliest days for driving in a year. Just last year, in 2023 in the city, 80 people, they lost their lives to traffic violence, and over 5,600 more people in the city were injured. These statistics aren't just numbers. They represent dreams ended. They represent families that were shattered. They represent communities, unfortunately, that were devastated. Speeding is not just a violation of traffic law, it's a community problem, and a community problem that affects each and every single one of us. So think about this. When you choose to speed, you're endangering not just yourself, but you're also putting everybody else at risk. So we must organize and address that problem of speeding, and we must do it in a collective effort with all the partners who are engaged here and even beyond. That's why we're here today, to raise awareness to the dangers of speeding and also to help to change behavior, give information and help to change that sort of behavior. By coming together to address this issue, we can send a very powerful message. Each and every single one of us, we can send a very powerful message across this community that reckless driving will not be tolerated, not here and not in any neighborhood, anywhere in this city, nowhere in Milwaukee. And we can all be a part of the change by slowing down when we're behind the wheel of a vehicle ourselves. We can all be a part of the change when we slow down when we're driving. So I'd like to thank the Department of Public Works for spearheading this campaign. Also like to thank Vision Zero, Jessica Weinberg, who directs that office, is here as well, for its work and support of this campaign. I'd also like to thank the Milwaukee Health Department, the Milwaukee Police Department, and all of our city offices who have helped and will help to make this campaign a success and spreading its message. Thank you, all of you, for being here today. This is not just a campaign for the city of Milwaukee, though. This is not just a city effort because, as each and every single one of us knows, reckless driving and that sort of behavior is not constrained just to the city of Milwaukee. This happens in communities all throughout southeastern Wisconsin and really throughout our entire state. And not even just the state. As I talk to mayors across the country, this is something that is affecting communities all across the United States. So it's truly a community campaign, and it cannot be successful without all of us coming together. So I'll also like to thank the Friends of Lincoln Park, the Martin Drive Neighborhood Association, Rooted and Rising, the Villard Avenue Bid, Westtown Association, the Near West Side Partners, Cambridge Woods Neighborhood Association, Goodwill of Greater Milwaukee and Chicago, and the Milwaukee County, who have already signed up to help partner with us and spread this message of decreasing speed. And if you haven't signed up already, it's not too late. You still can join us. You still can sign up. It is not too late to do that. And you can do that by going to our campaign website. That's engage.milwaukee.gov/slowdownmke. I'll say that again. engage.milwaukee.gov/slowdownmke. So you probably already noticed just to my right, your left, the Milwaukee County Transit System bus that's parked here. Well, get ready, because you'll see buses like that riding up and down the streets throughout our community all summer, spreading the message of this campaign. And you'll see it on billboards, and you'll see it in social media videos. You'll see even more of us at events that you attend all throughout the summer, helping to spread the message of this very, very important campaign. Our actions on the road, they have a lasting impact on the safety, and not just the safety, but also the well-being of our entire community. By working together to address the problem of speeding, we can create a safer environment for everybody. A safer environment for everybody right here in our great city, and get closer to Vision Zero. That's having zero traffic deaths here in Milwaukee, the city that I love, the city that each and every single one of us loves as well. So I know a lot of people may think that, I'm not part of the problem. It's not me, right? I'm not the one that's driving recklessly. I'm not contributing, to that problem. I know how to drive 5 or 10 miles more than the speed limit. I know what I'm doing. I'm not a teenage driver. I didn't just get my license. Folks, oftentimes think that. But the reality here is that, yes, we're also talking to you as well, because everybody can be a part of the solution here. So you can also be a part of the solution, because in reality, there's no speed. There's no speed that's above the speed limit that's safe. I mean, think about it. When you're driving above the speed limit, it limits your reaction time. You have less time to react. You have less space in which to slow down. And when you're driving above the speed limit, that just contributes to, if there were a crash, if something like that were to happen, it increases the likelihood that somebody would be injured, that somebody would be killed. So all of us have a role to play. Even if you think you're the most conscious and responsible driver out there, all of us have a role to play here. It's not just folks who are doing some of the most egregious actions. It's everybody who gets behind the wheel of a vehicle. So I urge each of you here today and everyone listening to join us in this important effort, and all come together to do your part to make our streets safer for everybody. And now, at this time, I'd like to hand it over to Mariah Johnson to share her story. Mariah is a youth worker here in Milwaukee who has felt firsthand the devastating effects of people speeding on the roads here in our city. And with that, I'm going to ask Mariah to please share her story. Mariah, please give her a round of applause.
Hello, thank you all for having me today. I really appreciate this. I would really like to start off by thanking Mayor Johnson. I met Mayor Johnson actually in 2021, honestly around August 7th when my brother was killed. So today I would really like to thank him for all of the efforts that he's made since then, but I would also like to thank the city of Milwaukee for allowing me this platform to speak about my brother and what has happened to my family, because I know I'm not the only family in Milwaukee that has been impacted by reckless driving. On August 7th of 2021 at 4:41 p.m. my life changed that on a level that I feel like I never even expected. My brother was killed in a car crash on 60th and Hampton, where a car was driving 120 miles an hour down the street, and my brother was an innocent driver. He was just driving to the gas station to get some chips and just be an average Saturday afternoon when the two cars racing slammed into my brother, and my brother and his friend was killed on impact. So to be honest with you, that has forced me into community work. That is where I really started to step out of what I was used to, because at the end of the day, this is my city and I love this city with everything in me, and I needed to use my platform and my brother's story to change the city. We really need to slow down as a whole. At the end of the day, like Mayor Johnson said, it's not just us standing up here, it's not everybody standing around here, it's every single one of them. And I'm talking to you, Milwaukee residents. I'm talking to people my age. I'm talking to the youth. I'm talking to the older generation. At the end of the day, this is a whole entire city of Milwaukee crisis, and we really need to make a change. So all I ask is that you slow down. Speeding, we can absolutely live without it. we can get places where we need to go on an average day without speeding. We should not be going 50 miles an hour in a 25. It's ridiculous. So at the end of the day, I would like to thank you all for being here. Thank you for giving me this platform. I can't believe I'm on a bus, but I just know my brother is so proud right now, and I'm so thankful that I have this platform to continue honoring him for the rest of his life. And his life is gone, but you know what I mean. So thank you so much, and remember, slow down. Please slow down. So I am going to conclude, and I'm going to pass it off to the city engineer, Kevin Muse.
Thank you, Mariah. Thank you for sharing your story with us, and thank you for being part of this campaign. As Mariah stated, I'm Kevin Muse, Milwaukee's city engineer. The Department of Public Works is committed to doing our part to making our streets safer and more enjoyable for all residents and visitors to our great city. We are redesigning our roads and implementing physical measures to deter speeding. Well-designed infrastructure encourages drivers to slow down and pay attention. You've probably already noticed some of our traffic calming measures across much of the city, such as curb extensions, bump outs, raised crosswalks, speed humps, protected bike lanes, and narrower roadways, all of which have been proven to reduce speeds and lower the risk of crashes. The goal of these infrastructure changes is not to inconvenience drivers. It's about creating streets and spaces where everyone, whether they're driving, riding transit, walking, biking, or taking a scooter, can get around safely and comfortably. Curb extensions, for instance, reduce the crossing distance for people walking and make them more visible to drivers. Similarly, raised crosswalks serve a dual purpose. They slow down vehicles and provide a physical reminder to people driving that they are entering a pedestrian zone and they should pay attention. These changes not only reduce crashes, but make our city more inviting and accessible for all. The Department of Public Works is dedicated to using infrastructure in the fight against speeding and reckless driving, but that alone is not enough. As Mayor Johnson stated, it takes all of us coming together as a community to truly address this problem. Launching this campaign, that's why we're making this a community effort, to remind everyone this issue affects all of us, and it's up to all of us to do our part. So please slow down, drive safer, and remind everyone around you to do the same. I'd now like to introduce Captain Bradley Schley of the Milwaukee Police Department, our great partner in this effort.
Thank you, Kevin. Appreciate it. First of all, thank you for all coming out to this event. This is just the beginning. We have a long ways to go. I'm Captain Brad Schley of the City of Milwaukee Police Department, the Specialized Patrol Division. There we house our crash reconstruction unit that goes out to all the fatal accidents. We house the traffic safety unit that's out there every day enforcing municipal violations, traffic violations, and what we're talking about today, speeding violations. We are the enforcement. We have our motorcycle unit out of that division, which investigates crashes and enforces traffic laws. We are in this together. The Milwaukee Police Department is excited, and we are in it. We are in it with our partners, with the mayor's office, with Vision Zero. The speeding, we can live without it. We are the enforcement portion of it. We also like to educate, and we support all the engineering projects that are going on for traffic calming. We cannot do this by ourselves. Enforcement alone is not enough. I'd like to offer condolences to Mariah. Not only Mariah, but all those that have lost loved ones in tragic speeding and crashes. In our city, we come, we live here. We get entertained here, and we work here. But we can't do this with what's going on in today's society. We have to say no, enough is enough. We can't allow the speeding to take another life. And this is the start of it, because I say we're not doing any better. We have to get better with our enforcement, our education, and our engineering. Last year, 80. We lost 80 lives in the city of Milwaukee to traffic crashes. This last year, this time, we were at 38. We're at that same number this year today. 38 lives lost. Unacceptable. We look to all of you. They're tragedies. We can prevent them. And it all starts with you at home and those of you that are watching, and programs like we have in place now. We need you to leave 5-10 minutes earlier. When you come up to that yellow traffic signal, instead of pressing on the accelerator and speeding up to make it through the yellow, which inevitably turns red either before you get to it or while you're in the intersection, if you can do so, we expect you to stop safely. That's a violation. We are here to enforce that. I'll go back to the numbers that I just spoke about. 38 traffic deaths this year. The vast majority of those are excessive speed is a contributing factor to those deaths. Enough is enough. When are you going to say enough is enough? When are you going to look at your own driving habits? Slow down. We all set an example for everybody else. I ask that you set the example. You help us with the education, the enforcement with your children, your loved ones, and how their driving habits are. And the engineering ideas come from you. So we ask that we all pull together. We can't do this alone. And I thank you for coming today. I'll turn this over to Mayor Johnson.
I almost did that. He was a little taller. Yeah. That's all right. Well, thank you so much, Captain Sly, for being a great partner with us. Milwaukee Police Department certainly is. We've got great partners on the Milwaukee County Council as well, working to make our streets safer in Milwaukee. And so at this time, I'd like to bring up 3rd District Alderman Jonathan Brostoff for a brief remark.
Thanks. First of all, I want to say a huge thank you to Mayor Johnson and his administration, because for far too long we did not have leadership at the highest level of Milwaukee that took this seriously, and that's how we got to where we're at today. There's 2 key components to making our streets safer in my mind. One is what we're doing today, education, all that stuff is great, but the most important short-term fix is the engineering, is making streets for people. And far too long, what happened in Milwaukee is we had streets like everywhere else that were engineered to get cars as fast from point A to point B as possible. And now we're reaping the horrific outcomes of that. We're seeing lanes that are way too wide, like right here. We're seeing people able to go way too fast. And by engineering our streets that way, our predecessors have created a situation where it, by definition, makes people want to speed up, want to go fast, want to do Milwaukee Slide. So thank God we've got Mayor Johnson in office and his great engineering team and the great staff who has best practices. We know all the best ways to do this, and we've changed our engineering guidelines to a more people-friendly one, but we need a city that's designed for its people, not just for cars to move as fast from point A to point B, and that's what we're seeing now. And all the little speed bumps you're seeing in your communities, all the narrow lanes, all this is part of it. It won't happen overnight, but it's saving lives, and every single one of these investments in a better built environment means our children are safer, people with mobility challenges are safer, our drivers are safer, and I just want to take a moment to say thank God we finally got an administration and a mayor that's taking this seriously. So let's give a big round of applause to Mayor Johnson for that. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for that, Alderman Brostoff. I really appreciate that. And it's not just me, of course, and the Alderman mentioned this. It's a collaborative effort. It's the community that's a part of this. It's also the administration that's a part of this as well. From Milwaukee Police Department to Health Department to the Department of Public Works and so many others. What you see here today is the example that we often talk about. Captain Schley touched on this. It cannot just be the police alone. We need everybody in the game. We need everybody participating. We need all hands on deck. And so what you see right now, this is the confluence of education, yes, the confluence of enforcement, yes, and the confluence of engineering, yes. And all of those things together over time will help us to make sure that the streets are safe for everybody, and that's what we're committed to here in my administration. So with that, we're happy to take a couple questions, if there are any.
I have a couple for Kevin. You know, I know the city has constructed the bump outs, the curb extensions. We have heard from residents over the past year or so that feel like those haven't been enough, that people who are speeding end up like going airborne and causing more damage. What do you say to those residents?
Yeah, thank you. So, you know, I think, well, some of that is why we're here today, right? I mean, this is engineering can make a significant difference. It can make a significant improvement. But, you know, someone is choosing to drive 120 miles an hour, as Mariah described, down a city street. There's less that engineering can do. That's a personal choice and a personal responsibility issue. And that's why we need the entire community to work with us to take this more seriously, understanding that speeding results in death. As the captain said, of the 38 traffic fatalities or deaths we've seen so far this year, speeding is a factor in almost all of them.
Has any of this redesign that's already happened? Do you have anything that you say that show how effective they've been, if they have been?
Yeah, absolutely. We can follow up with you with some data on specific projects, but I think we've seen in every single roadway narrowing that we've done before and after speed studies on, we've seen somewhere between at least a little bit to a significant reduction in speeding, particularly in speeds that are, the percent of people that are driving more than 10 miles an hour over the speed limit decreases dramatically with almost all the projects we're implementing. And we do look at before and after studies to make sure what we're doing is being effective.
Why was this specific intersection chosen? Was it for those reasons that you mentioned earlier, wide lanes? Why was this specific location chosen for this specific project? I know we talked about some wide lanes for this intersection.
I mean, it really doesn't really matter where we go. This is just about getting the message out, getting the word out about education that we're trying to impart into the community right now about the dangers of speeding, right? So it didn't really matter where in the city we went to, but we did want to come here because, you know, Capitol Drive, for instance, and we're not very far from it, is one of the most deadly roads in the state of Wisconsin, right? So that certainly is a factor, but regardless, as I said in my opening remarks, it doesn't matter where you are in the city, really doesn't matter where you are in southeastern Wisconsin. Speeding is an issue and something that we need to address. And that's why all of us are here today, to address that issue. And I hope as well that there is follow-up on the data that Kevin talked about, because that's part of the education too. In my overview meetings that I have with each and every single city department, including the Department of Public Works, you know, I've been pleased to know and to see that same sort of data, that says that when we apply these improvements to the roadways, it makes it safer. We see speeds dropping, right? We don't see people flying down the streets as quickly as they once were before. And as I said earlier, when folks are not driving as quickly, when folks are not driving as fast, that gives more folks behind the wheel opportunity to react, right? It gives you more space to slow down so that you end up, if you do have a crash, it is not one that'll cause as much damage and ultimately, you know, hopefully not injure people or even save lives. So that's something that was eye-opening to me. I was appreciative, and so I hope you guys do follow up with that information.
Sure. I'm sorry, I didn't catch your whole question.
Will there be more recommendations for reckless driving and speeding? Are police officers going to be taking those people more often?
We will be out based on the partnership that we have. We are always out there enforcing, but given what we are trying to accomplish here with the speeding, we can live without it. We will be out in those areas. There's going to be billboards going up. We're going to work in conjunction with our partners to try to do enforcement in those areas on a regular basis. And we will be enforcing the laws that are already in place, working with our city attorney, working with the district attorney to make sure that those are prosecuted to the best that we can.
We have time for one more question, guys. One more question.
All right, if not, well, thank you all so much for covering this. Appreciate it. Thank you all. Thank you. Thank you again.